What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the best fighter build in Grounded 2. So in this build guide I will give you a quick overview of the setup, then I will explain what mutations and weapons should you focus on. Then as well we'll see what is the best gear and how to get it for both leveling and the endgame. And then finally we will go over the trinkets, the best gameplay tips and many more features that you should use, so we would be able to get the highest damage possible and much more. Also, if you're interested in buying other PC or console games with 50 or 70% discount, then check out Instant Gaming. For example, I want to buy Elden Ring, so we just click on Add to Cart, then click Pay, then input our details and pay. After payment is complete, we will receive activation key, then copy and paste the key in, and it's that simple. So what are you waiting for? Click my link description and check out Instant Gaming for yourself. So let's kick things off with a full breakdown of what makes this fighter build not only viable, but an absolute monstrosity in both solo and co-op play. If you enjoy being in the heart of the battle, soaking up damage, staggering your enemies and striking back harder than ever, then this is the build for you. The setup focuses on close quarter combat and leveraging high stamina, frequent blocking and the crowd control, and even hard-hitting melee attacks. You'll be on the front line of every skirmish, dishing out brutal blows while barely flinching in the response. The core of this build revolves around absorbing damage strategically, and then retaliating with increased power through the armor and mutation synergies. What sets the fighter apart is its ability to stun lock enemies, making it not only powerful against bosses but also incredibly effective for wave clearing or dealing with multiple aggressive bugs at once. The more you block, the stronger your next strike becomes. Combine that with weapons that specialize in smashing, and armor that thrives under pressure, and you've got a build that practically feeds on the chaos of the battle. No matter if you're tanking for a team in multiplayer or going solo and holding your ground against larger enemies, then this build delivers unmatched durability, high burst damage windows and excellent utility for extended fights. And next, let's go into the gear, which is the foundation of any tanky fighter. You want something that lets you stay in the fight longer, take less damage and reward you for blocking with enhanced offensive power. And that is where the Snail Shell armor set comes in, which is one of the best tier 3 sets for pure brawler play. Starting at the top, we have the Snail Shell head slot, then the Snail Shell plastron for the chest, and then the Snail Shell greaves for the legs. Each one of these pieces will come equipped with two critical mods, the Fighter Armor and the Block Stun. Fighter Armor mod gives you a natural synergy with the clubs and the shields, while then the Block Stun increases the duration of enemies that stay vulnerable after successful block. This alone makes you an absolute nightmare for enemies who rely on charging or flanking attacks. But then the real power lies in the Snail Shell set bonus, known as Retaliation. With this bonus active, every successful block will store up a charge, and once you've blocked enough hits, your next charged melee attack will unleash a devastating shockwave. Retaliation stacks up to 5 times, and with each stack, your charged attack becomes faster and more powerful. This transforms defense into offense, allowing you to turn even the most chaotic fights into a calculated sequence of blows that clear the battlefield. However, for those who haven't reached tier 3 yet or are progressing through the mid-game, then the Ladybug armor set is your go-to gear. The Ladybug faceplate, chestplate and the shin guards all provide the Fighter Armor mod, along with the Bargain Block, which gives you enhanced block effectiveness. On top of that, wearing the full set activates the Scarlet Embrace, which is a passive that lets you regain a small amount of health after every successful block. This combination of healing and damage mitigation is incredible for the mid-game survival, especially when fighting bugs that rely on repeated attack patterns. Now, no fighter is complete without the right weapon, and I will give you a few swords and shield combinations that really shine depending on what stage of the game you are in. The endgame weapon of our choice is the Roach Club, which is a tier 2 one-handed powerhouse that thrives on smashing damage and stunning enemies. Its base damage is solid, but what makes it a perfect fit for this build is how well it synergizes with the Retaliation bonus and the Smasher mutation. When enemies are stunned, they become easy targets to follow up the heavy attacks or devastating shockwaves. And then for the shield, we went with the Scarlet Aegis. This is a heavy shield designed for maximum defenses. This one is just not for blocking, it carries the heavy shield armor, which increases the number of attacks you can block before being staggered. Additionally, it comes with a parry buggy heal, allowing you to heal after the perfect parry. That makes this combination one of the best for staying alive while delivering continuous pressure. However, if you're in the early game and still working towards the better gear, then you can fall back on the Crimson Saber, which is a tier 1 one-handed sword that delivers fast flashing attacks, and then the Lady Guard shield, which is a decent early tier shield that still offers heavy shield properties. Overall, this will allow you to get used to the rhythm of blocking and punishing, which is essential to master the fighter class. If you prefer raw damage and don't mind sacrificing your ability to block, then you can also wield the Red Ant Club. It's not ideal for full block retaliation loop, but it can clean house if you're confident in dodging or even have a backup shield in your quick slot. Next up we have Trinkets, and this might sound like a minor addition, but they actually make a significant difference in performance, especially in the heat of the battle. For solo players, one of the best options is the ORC Nullifier, which is a tier 2 trinket that passively reduces incoming damage from the ORC enemies. These enemies can be tough due to their high aggression and damage output, so anything that gives you an edge against them is welcomed. If you're playing co-op and acting as your team's tank, then the Sturdy Shell is your best friend. The trinket grants two important passive boosts. The first one is the Friendly Fire defensive up, which reduces the damage you accidentally take from the teammates. And then second, we got the Major Tread, which increases your aggro level, meaning that enemies will focus on you more often. And that is exactly what you want as a frontline tank in co-op. You want to absorb hits so your team doesn't have to. Next up we have Mutations, and we are focusing on improved blocking, stamina and melee effectiveness. We want to start with the Smasher, which is the bread and butter of any club-based warrior. It increases the power and efficiency of clubs, especially when it comes to the stunning enemies. Given that our Roach Club is already a stun-heavy weapon, this mutation turns into a monster. The longer a target is stunned, the more time you have to line up the Shockwave retaliation, or unleash a full combo. Next we got the Parry Master. This mutation boosts your stamina every time you execute a perfect block. Stamina is your lifeline. It fuels your attacks, blocks and dodges. The more stamina you recover from the parries, the longer you stay in the fight and the more damage you can put over the time. Mastering this mutation separates the average fighters from the truly elite ones. Then there's the Cardio Fan, a must-have survival-based mutation that increases your stamina regeneration and reduces the penalty from exhaustion. It's incredibly useful for keeping your pressure high and your movement fluid. You never want to run out of stamina mid-fight, and with the Cardio Fan you rarely will. And then eventually, once you progressed far enough, you'll want to unlock the Frenzy, which becomes available after defeating the Mask Changer boss. Frenzy adds an offensive twist to your defensive style, so the more damage you take, the more stronger you become. This burst damage window is perfect for returning fire after soaking up an ambush, or taking hits from a boss, so use it wisely, time your blocks, and unleash a devastating combo during the Frenzy pace for maximum impact. And now finally, let's talk about how to bring all of this together in an actual combat situation. As far as fighter gameplay goes, your role is to initiate fights. Don't wait for the enemies to come to you. Close the distance quickly, take control of the battlefield, and keep your pressure on the targets. When approaching enemies, always be ready to block first. Let them strike, absorb the blow, and then immediately retaliate with a heavy or the charged attack to trigger your retaliation bonus. Staggering enemies is key, and once the enemy is stunned, don't give them a chance to reset. Follow that up with a full combo, or if you're stacked up retaliation, then unleash a massive shockwave to clear nearby enemies. Against bosses or elite bugs, fight with the patience, so block, block and again block, then build up stacks and then unleash your charged strike when the moment is right. Your shockwave will chunk their health bar and give you time to reposition or heal. And always remember, blocking is just not about defense. With this build, blocking is your offensive trigger. It's what powers your next big hit. As you can tell, the rhythm of the combat for the fighter is block, bait and then retaliate. So master that loop and you will become godlike. So, let me know what you think about this build in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, then you definitely don't want to miss my previous video, where I showed you the top 3 best builds in Grounded 2 and much more. So click the screen now and I'll see you in the next one.